Cree Elder Vern Harper. That said, he can't make it, but I do want to tell you what he had decided to talk about, because I think it's very important. Why he wanted to stop, it was just before the electroshock speak out he wanted to stop, because he saw himself as related to electroshock survivors, even though he did not have electroshock. Vern, as well as being an Indigenous elder, was a long-term member of the psychiatric survivor community here. And Toronto′s and I have a book that he has a chapter in. Well, while he was in the hospital, and this was a story he wanted to tell you, while he was in the psychiatric unit, and I shouldn't call that a hospital, while he was in the psychiatric unit, something happened. They decided he was going to get electroshocked, and they wheeled him in to get electroshocked. And a psychiatrist, who incidentally was not a North American mainstream hegemonic psychiatrist, came into the room and unplugged the shock machine and said, "Not to my people, you don't." And the same thing happened about 6 months later, where again they were going to electroshock him, and again a psychiatrist came in and unplugged the machine and said, "Not to my people, you don't." Let's decide all the people being threatened with this treatment are our people, and let's all say, "Not for our people, not to our people, you don't." That said, can somebody go and get Lise? She's been waiting forever. Lise, come on up. Lise is the next speaker, and she's going to be telling you about the scholarship.
Bonnie's just fine.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's very long. Don't worry about it.
Okay. First, I want to start by congratulating Bonnie on this wonderful achievement on this important book. We at OISE are so very, very proud of you. My name is Lise Watson. I'm the financial aid coordinator here at OISE. I've been here for about 8 years. And I want to introduce myself as a cisgendered woman settler. And my family originally came from England. My father came from the north of England in the 1950s. And my mother's family came from in the 1800s from the west coast of England. And I feel very privileged to be visiting here on Indigenous lands. It's my great honor to be here tonight to tell you about the most exciting new scholarship at OISE in years. It's the Dr. Bonnie Burstow Scholarship in Anti-Psychiatry at the University of Toronto. We are encouraging you to donate tonight to what is, in fact, the only scholarship of its kind anywhere in the world. Take a break here. Any donation you make will be more than matched by an anonymous American donor, which doubles the impact you can make on research in anti-psychiatry. This scholarship will be awarded annually to an OISE thesis student conducting anti-psychiatry inquiry. The value of the award will be based on the annual income generated from interest on the principal endowment funds. Our hope is that the amount will continue to grow and benefit even more students in this field over the years. Bonnie has contributed her own funds very generously, and we're going to be giving out this award in the spring for the first time. So I encourage you to make any kind of donation you can. I'll be outside taking donations. I just want to say to finish off that Bonnie and the other OISE scholars are already at the center of anti-psychiatry research in North America. And with your generous support, they can continue to lead the way as part of this mounting worldwide movement. Okay, thank you very much.
People need to know.
Somebody just came up to me to say we should remind people that it's a charitable nation, and therefore there will be a charitable tax receipt for it. So I want to say a few words in the ending, and I promised you one more reading. Okay. So I want to ask people to think about whether or not they can become active in some way around shock. We are having a meeting of Coalition Against Psychiatric Assault on Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's 2 days from now. If you want to join us at 1 o'clock in room 162 on the 7th floor, we would love to have allies. Other things you can do. is get this novel into people's hands because I think it can do a job for us. Give it away as birthday presents. Christmas is coming up. Give it away as Christmas presents. See if you can't help us have more and more people reading it. We're asking you to join us and be a part of our warrior group getting this novel into people's hands because we think it can do a job. We think it can do a job that so far the research hasn't done, that so far the more factual stuff hasn't done, and this is factual too, but it's also literature. That said, I promised you one more reading, and so this is from very close to the end of the book. And Naomi knows it's close to the end of the book. It's her book after all. And she thinks back over her life and she remembers an old, you know how when you're young, you have some adult you really look up to that you go to. And sometimes it's parents, but often it's no relative at all. It's a neighbor living down the street. And in this case, it's a neighbor living down the street, and whose name is Mrs. Spencer. So here we go. Now, a long, long time ago, when I was just a little imp, one sunny afternoon, my old chum, Mrs. Spencer, and I were sitting side by side on the rickety stairs leading up to her house. She was barefoot, as usual, her toes wiggling unapologetically, her whole body glistening with perspiration. I had been kvetching about receiving no invite to my best friend's birthday. At first, Mrs. Spencer responded by plying me with cookies. Then she placed her hand on my shoulder, eyed me earnestly, and said, "Let me tell you something, sweetie pie. As much as you laugh in life, that much will you cry. And as much as you cry, you will laugh." Now, I started to laugh, convinced she'd made a joke. The kind grown-ups make that no one except other grown-ups get. To my chagrin, however, she was not even cracking a smile. And so, feeling utterly foolish, I started to tear. "You see what I'm driving at, little one?" she persisted, her gaze riveting. "In life, you laugh and you cry. It has taken me 6 long decades, but finally, I know what she meant." Thank you, people, and there's books to buy, and there's people to talk to. Thank you so much for being a great audience.